Hey everyone, welcome back to our series on the scratch build F4D Skyray. In our last video, we talked about the build, how this whole thing kind of came about. This project started 5 years ago. And so we talk about the scratch build process. We go through and did the full paint workup. And so in this video, we are going to finish it all up. So we're gonna go through and we're gonna apply some raised panels to help break up the surface that also provide some color variation to add to the realism. And then we're gonna go through, we're gonna scribe panel lines into the paint. This is a new technique that I haven't shown before, but I've been doing for years. And then from there, we'll go through and give it a really nice, authentic weathering job. We all need that one airplane that we just want to go fly every single week. And so I've really been looking forward to having something like that that just gets me excited to go out to the field. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm super excited to get this airplane done. So let's go. All right, here is the Skyray. She is done, and I used a number of different techniques that ultimately added to the realism of the final finish. And so, you know, I have a huge library of information on the Skyray that I have been collecting literally for decades because I like the airplane that much. Using all of that, I had come up with a whole series of raised panels. So to create those, I simply just cut those out on my vinyl cutter out of a white adhesive-backed vinyl, and it's a permanent adhesive. Utilizing that, I painted those separately to the model and literally just placed them one by one onto the airframe. But it took a few iterations to sort out because when I was using primer on the vinyl, it actually wasn't sticking. And so what I ultimately figured out is that if I just rub the vinyl down with lacquer thinner and then run it through my cutter and paint directly over that, no paint adhesion issues at all. And so the reason I like to paint them separately is because you get a nice color variation that looks really authentic on the airplane, because the reality is, you know, things don't fade at the same rates, and also certain panels may be accessed more than others. It helps to kind of break up an otherwise even surface, and it adds a nice touch of realism to it in the process. I applied things before panel lines, during panel lines, but even actually on the tails, I applied some panels before I painted the lettering because they had to go down in order for the lettering to paint on top of them. It wasn't a single step per se, it was all part of the finishing process as I was going through it. Otherwise, once I had sorted all of that out, I started laying out the panel lines. Those were applied with a double-ended scribe, and I kept it really sharp with my disc sander because it really helped to cut through. I only applied the panel lines into the top layer of the paint, so it went from paint through down to the primer layer. That was it. The nice thing about that process is that it creates a really nice, authentic looking butt joined panel because you get a very fine groove as a result of etching the panel lines into the paint. And even in sunlight and stuff, that'll cast shadows just like the full scale would. And so you get a really authentic looking panel line in the process by doing that. I do need to mention, I was only able to do this because the airframe was fiberglass, so it's a hardened fiberglass surface. And because of that, I could, you know, apply the appropriate pressure to scribe into the paint. Otherwise, I would have had to stick with just the pencil panel lines, but I really wanted to go the extra mile on this. And the reality is, when you're scribing them, it's not that much different than applying them with pencil, except you're just kind of taking it a step further. You know, it may be a little daunting to do this into the painted surface, and it's just kind of a measure twice, cut once kind of a deal. Make sure that things are symmetrical, that you're good to go before you commit to scribing into the surface. Now, once I had all the panel lines down, I applied a weathering wash into all of the panel lines and on top of all of those raised panel details. And so I took some raw umber acrylic pigment, put it into a bowl, and just added a little bit of Windex. And so the texture was kind of like smooth mud, if you will. And so I just brushed that over the entire airframe. I gave it a chance to kind of dry up a little bit, because if it's too wet when you wipe it off, it won't remain in the panel line. Poured a bit of Tamiya acrylic thinner onto a paper towel, and then I just wiped off all of the excess, wiping in the direction of the airflow on the wings and then more vertically on the fuselage and on the tail. That helped the panel lines to kind of pop a bit more, you know, because on a full-scale airplane, that's, you know, those seams do accumulate dirt and grime and such over time. And so from there, I applied some individual oil streaks and stains. And so when you look at fighter jet aircraft, typically, you know, they get extremely dirty underneath, and the Skyray was no exception. I had multiple pictures that showed accumulation and streaking on the underside. The airplane wasn't in service too terribly long, so it's not that it was getting hugely dirty elsewhere. And so I applied a few random streaks on the upper surface on the fuselage as well, but then focused primarily on the bottom because that's really where most of that accumulated, and typically, you know, because of gravity, that's where the leaks occur. In addition, I also focused on the vent details that we had created in the last video to create some additional depth in those as well. Once that was all done, I did a final shading over the panel lines with Tamiya acrylic flat black. And so what that does is just kind of create some color variation out along the panel lines, but you want to keep it really subtle. It's very easy to overdo it here. I use a broad stroke, a quick stroke with the airbrush because I don't want a heavy accumulation of paint. And also the paint is thinned down to the consistency of dirty thinner essentially. And so if I want more, I can do an additional pass. Once that was all done, I took a Scotch-Brite pad and burnished the whole thing down to blend it all together. And that's a really important step here in the process, because the other thing is if you find that you apply too much, well, you can just burnish it down more to tone it down. You want to protect all of that finish. And so I sprayed, once it was all done, a final clear coat over the entire airframe. And that was it. After that, I did a few final details. I had to paint the tail bumper wheel. I added the tail hook, and then also I added some nav light details. And so I had painted some vinyl bright silver and then used Tamiya clear red and clear green for the wingtip lights, and then just kept the silver for the white light on the tail. All right, there we have it. The F4D Skyray is done. Man, I'm so excited to have this airplane finished. The whole weathering process is really where the magic happens and what really brings the airplane to life and gives it that warfighter look. And the Skyray wasn't really in service for very long. It was maybe about 10 years. So it didn't get super dirty. It didn't have tons of fading in the paint. And so we didn't go super heavy on the weathering per se, but tried to give it a true authentic look for the time period. Yeah, from here, it is time to fly this airplane at full dress. I'm really excited to get this airplane flying and just have it in my hangar. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to see how we built and painted the model, you can see that here. And until next time, I'll see you at the field.